If your team is playing it safe, you don't have an innovation problem. You have a leadership environment problem. Most organizations I have worked with are full of smart, capable people. They're dealing with constant change, increasing pressure, and rising complexity. And yet, ideas die in meetings. People hesitate to speak up, and innovation feels risky. And phrases like "we've always done it this way" quietly shut the progress down. That's not a people problem. That's a leadership environment issue. Today, I want to walk you through how strong leaders turn innovation from a random event into a repeatable system without chaos or burnout or constant reinvention. So number one, innovation leadership is an environment. Here's the first shift that leaders have to make. Innovation leadership is not about more ideas. It's about the environment those ideas live in. You see, without structure, innovation stays fragile, especially under pressure. And when results matter, people retreat to what feels safe. And without intention, creativity becomes random instead of repeatable. Every innovative organization that scales does three things well. First, they define a clear innovation direction. What problems matter and what winning actually looks like. Secondly, they shape an innovative culture where curiosity, collaboration, and learning actually thrive. And then they install processes that move ideas into experiments. And experiments actually move into decisions. If one of those is missing, innovation will always stall. So leadership doesn't create ideas. Leadership actually creates the conditions for ideas to survive. Number two, psychological safety is actually the real multiplier. If there's one thing that leaders actually underestimate, it is actually this. Psychological safety is the single biggest multiplier of innovation. People don't take creative risk when they fear judgment or organizational politics or punishment or actually being labeled difficult. Psychological safety means people feel comfortable sharing ideas, raising concerns, and taking risk without the fear of having a negative consequence. You see, leaders build safety when they model vulnerability, share mistakes, and share those lessons learned. When they reframe failure as data, not a career penalty. If people don't feel safe, they will not innovate. They'll comply, but they will not innovate. And compliance never has created anything new. Number three, stop arguing opinions and use better processes. Here's another leadership mistake that I see often. Teams will argue opinions instead of using processes. Somebody has to always have the last word. Complex problems are not solved by smarter debating. They're solved by better problem-solving frameworks. So high-performing teams combine this. They combine design thinking to actually define what the real problem is. And then they have lean startup methods to test their assumptions quickly. And that is very, very key to continue to test the assumptions and test them with rapid pace. And then those organizations have agile practices to adapt through feedback. This approach actually forces clarity. It removes ego out of the way and it replaces "I think" with "what does the data say?" Innovation doesn't require louder voices. It actually requires clearer processes. Number four, build an experimentation culture. You see, most teams brainstorm, and the best teams run experiments. Brainstorming feels productive, but it often goes nowhere. Experimentation turns ideas into learning, and strong innovation cultures let the data beat the hierarchy. So, you must make your experiments visible. Make them visible to the team, the leadership team, and to others. Be vulnerable with your teams. Share learning openly. And that actually will include your wins. And yes, it includes sharing your failures as well. Reward the progress and not just the outcomes. That is key, rewarding the progress and not just the outcomes. So when leaders normalize experimentation, innovation begins business as usual, not just a special event. So the question shifts from whose idea is best to actually, what are we testing next? It becomes excitement in the culture. Number 5, look at intelligent failure versus blame-worthy failure. And this is actually where innovation often breaks down. When failure is punished, learning then goes underground. See, leaders must teach the difference between having intelligent failure, which I would define as calculated risk within very, very clear boundaries. But we don't want to have blameworthy failure, which I would define as having negligence, shortcuts, or recklessness, because that's dangerous to the organization. So looking past that, we should ask, what happened in this failure? What did we learn? And what will we do differently next time? When leaders share their own setbacks publicly, it signals safety, and then learning actually accelerates. Innovation doesn't slow because people fail. It slows because people start to hide because of the culture. Number 6, autonomy actually fuels innovation. And with boundaries, autonomy is not hands-off. It's actually supported freedom. See, rigid hierarchies suppress the initiative. Empowered teams innovate faster, but only when these 3 things are present. Number 1, you have to have an organizational commitment. And then you must provide real resources and have frequent leader feedback. Leaders have to provide clear boundaries and then trust the teams to decide within those boundaries, and that's how innovation scales without the chaos that can come with it. Number 7, cross-functional teams solve the hard problems. If a problem keeps bouncing between departments, here's why. No single team actually owns it. Complex problems require multiple perspectives. Cross-functional teams actually use improved root cause analysis systems. They reduce the silos and they speed up the learning. And the leadership's role is to align the priorities, resolve the conflicts, and keep those teams focused on the shared outcomes. Innovation will not happen in silos. It happens at the intersections. Number 8, have systems that scale innovation. And here's the final leadership truth. If innovation depends on one charismatic leader, it's not a system, it's a risk. Scalable innovation requires metrics that are tied to learning and experimentation. And it requires resources dedicated to testing and a clear strategic vision. You must have rapid prototyping and iteration, and great leaders will create freedom inside a frame, autonomy with alignment. So innovation is not a brainstorm. It's psychological safety, structured problem solving, experimentation, intelligent failure, empowered teams, and leadership systems that reinforce learning and execution. So here's my question for you. What's the biggest blocker to innovation in your organization right now? Would you say fear, silos, or lack of time, or maybe something else? Drop it in the comments below and subscribe for more leadership insights like this. As we serve together, Dr. Jeff.